So, when my ex cheated on me, he never once apologized. And that held me back for quite a long time because I thought that I needed an apology in order to be able to heal, in order to be able to move on. And one of the ways that I eventually was able to let go of that need for an apology is through talking to hundreds of people that did receive apologies, but they weren't authentic ones. And I realized then that even if my ex had apologized to me, that it wouldn't really have been the sort of apology, the sort of authentic apology that I really craved. Because when they say I'm sorry, well, it can have so many different meanings. Sometimes they're simply sorry that they've been caught. And one of the ways that you can recognize this is that they don't show any true indication that they feel remorse for what they've done. They don't really want to change their behavior. In fact, they may just instead double down on the sneakiness and try to do it where you don't notice. And they may be blaming you for maybe snooping or for your actions instead of taking responsibility for what they've done. Now, obviously, the I'm sorry I got caught is not an apology that has any true merit to it. Sometimes they say sorry just to try to smooth things over. Because let's face it, nobody likes to be around somebody that is upset with them. And obviously, now that you've discovered this affair, you're angry, you're sad, you've got all of these emotions coming out, and it's not comfortable for them. And so they say, I'm sorry, because they're hoping that that calms you down. And one of the ways that you can identify this sort of apology is based on the timing. Are they only saying I'm sorry when your emotions are elevated? And then also notice what goes along with that apology. Are they changing themselves? Are they working to change their own behaviors? Or instead, are they trying to soothe and calm you? For example, my ex-husband, this was before I knew about the affair, he had a tendency whenever I was upset about something to hold me and comfort me. And at the time, it felt amazing. But in retrospect, what he was doing is every time I was starting to get a little bit too close to the truth and my kind of spidey senses were going off, he worked to calm my nervous system so that I wasn't anxious, so that I wasn't looking too deeply. So if their apology is always tied to something that is going to calm you down, that is going to de escalate you, that's a sign that they're not really trying to change themselves. They're simply trying to keep you from upsetting them. Related to that one, sometimes they say, I'm sorry, and what they really mean is, I'm sorry that you are upset. And when they do this, they're often disconnecting their actions from your emotional response. So they're saying, I'm sorry you're upset, but they're completely negating the fact that you're upset because of what they did. Sometimes I'm sorry is said in an attempt to manipulate you. Anytime I'm sorry comes with some sort of expectation, some sort of, if I apologize, then my expectation is you are going to follow through and do this. That's not an authentic apology. That is them trying to control the outcome. They are saying, I'm sorry, not out of remorse, but because they think it is how they can get what they want. So then how do you recognize an authentic apology? How can you tell when they are truly remorseful? Well, there are several things to look for. One is the language that was used. A lot of times when people are not taking responsibility, they'll use this sort of third person language. They'll say, it happened, or they'll speak about the affair and how that occurred instead of saying, I did this when I chose to do that. So pay attention to that language. And as an extension, check to see where they are laying blame. Are they blaming the affair partner? Are they saying that that person came on to me and I was completely at a loss? I was an innocent bystander in all of this. Or are they blaming you for things that you did or did not do or saw or didn't see? Or are they really saying, no, this is my piece. I own my part. It doesn't mean that none of those other elements, none of those other variables are a factor. But what they're saying is, I did this piece and I truly feel remorse for this part that I did. And that's what I'm going to focus on because that's the piece, that's the part that I can make a change in. A huge part of an authentic apology is that it is not tied to any outcomes. It is presented to you with complete vulnerability and no expectations attached. It's not conditional upon your response. It is simply put out there. And when they're doing this authentically, they really are opening themselves up to being rejected, to having that apology tossed aside. And that can be a scary place for them. But if they're willing to go there, if they're willing to put themselves in a position where they can be hurt, that's a sign that they really are feeling remorse. Now, if they truly are feeling remorseful, they're pretty miserable right now. And I'm not saying that in any way to make you feel sorry for them. No, they did this to themselves. But it doesn't negate the fact that they're hurting right now. Now, if they're doing the work of self-regulation and addressing their own issues, if they're doing that on their own, that is another sign that it's a true apology. If instead they're looking to you to soothe them, to make them feel okay, then they're really not at the place that they can be genuine and upfront with you. And then, of course, the most important part, a true apology always comes with changed behavior. After all, it doesn't matter how much remorse they express if they continue to do the same sort of thing. And so make sure that those words are followed up with actions. And then it's important to note that no matter how authentic, no matter how vulnerable, no matter how true that apology is, it can never undo what was done. There's a meme out there that I love that says, take a plate. Okay, now throw it against the wall so that it shatters. Now apologize. And it's true, the plate is never going to be the same as it was. And so what has happened in the past is never going to go back the way that it was. That trust that you had before this infidelity, before this betrayal, you're never going to reach that exact same level again. But that doesn't mean that you can't move forward from this. And if you're choosing to stay in this relationship, if your goal is to try to make this work, well, it really begins with that expression of authentic remorse. And then your job is to be willing to receive it.